Hi, welcome to the Haystack. My name is Jonathan. If this is your first time, hope you enjoy it. If you're returning, thanks for coming back. It's been a while since I put out a video, but because of today, today is Tu BiShvat, so it's the 15th day of Shavat, and that is a day of it's a Jewish holy day holiday occurring on the 15th day, the Hebrew month of Shavat. It's also called Rosh Hashanah La Ilanot. Basically, it's New Year's of the trees. New Year's of the trees. So I wanted to do a little study on what that actually is and if there is anything connected with that in our scriptures. And there's a few things. All of it has to do with last days. So if you're here for the last days, well, I mean, there's no turning back from the last days, that is. Um, so here, I want to read to you what this New Year of the Trees is. So it's New Year's of the trees in contemporary Israel. That day is celebrated as an ecological awareness day, and trees are planted in celebration. Okay, so it has numerical values of 9 and 6, adding up to 15. 9, I think, also refers to the wheel. You see this a lot with Enoch. You see it a lot with the Eye of Horus. You see it referred to one eternal round, walking with the Lord. And by walking with the Lord, meaning following the path of the sun, Ra, right? So in some of those other cultures, and I'm not even doing it justice by just scraping past that, but and 6, I think, is the number of man, right? 15th is a new set. It's a new start. You see a lot of holidays held on the 15th of Jewish months, and that's basically you're going on to a new start. In a sense, you actually have what is it, the feast of bread manna, the the week of feast of manna, something like that. But basically that starts on the 15th and sets a whole new standard for that whole week. um to me, I feel like if the Lord were to come on a particular day for his saints, I would say that it's probably on a 15th, um, whether on our calendar or the Jewish calendar, because that is setting aside a new start of something new, a millennium. So if you look at Passover and look at what is done the 15th, and then done after that, you're feasting on bread for 7 days, and essentially that's like you're having that week, that you're having your millennium with the Savior, the bread of life. He's with you, and so you're feasting with him. Um, at least that's the way I understand it. So here we'll go over to the Talmud and what significance this day has in the Talmud. Tu BiShvat appears in the Mishnah in Tractate Hashanah as one of the 4 new years in the Jewish calendar. Okay, so you have a governmental, spiritual one, and then an ecological one. I'm not sure what the fourth one is. A discussion of the new year occurs, uh, a source of debate among rabbis who argued the first Nisan is the New Year's for kings and festivals. The first of Elul is the New Year for the tithe of cattle. Um, however, however, it looks like there are some other people who argue that that is placed on the first of Tishri. The first of Tishri is the New Year's calculation of the calendar for release years. Okay, sabbatical years, jubilees, planting and the tithe of vegetables. Okay, so the thing about that is if you've ever planted vegetables, harvest grains, anything like that, there's times that you do plant and there's times of rest. The With the Hebrews, with the Jews, they had a combination of state practical law along with their spiritual law, and they were able to combine this at times to serve a practical and a spiritual purpose. Um, it seems like over time you have generations that pull either more one way or the other. The practical way is the more statesman, structural government structural way, and so people go, okay, I don't get why it's illegal for me to breed a donkey with a horse, you know, something like that. When it's actually you're being taught about marrying within the covenant. So, and because mules can't um, reproduce themselves, so you can only create a mule, but they can't perpetuate. And the thing with Jews is family is everything. Killing, murder, something like that. It's more than just killing one person. It's you're destroying an entire nation of people, of the posterity that comes from that person. So perpetuating life and maintaining life is very, very important. Um, why do you think they're the fourth largest military power on the earth right now, and they're such a small little country? They they value life and religion. All right, so let's go ahead and move on. Um, the first of, Shavat is the new year for trees, according to the school of Shammai, the school of Hillel. However, place this on the 15th of Shavat instead of the first. So here it talks about the biblical ties. Um, I think these are very, very significant, and I really want you to see why. So it's going to talk about the different cycles and different purposes for these tithes. Araya refers to biblical prohibition. Leviticus 19:23. Leviticus is where we end up getting a lot of purposes of these holidays and which are celebrated. Um, so biblical prohibition on eating the fruit of trees produced during the first 3 years after they are planted. Netareva refers to the biblical commandment, Leviticus 19:24, to bring forth year fruit crops. So fourth as in the number 4, year fruit crops to Jerusalem as a tithe. The second tithe was a tithe which was collected in Jerusalem, and the poor tithe was a tithe given to the poor. So we have fast offerings, we have tithing and fast offerings. Um, it's funny, ours goes towards food, the practical, the temporal welfare of people, and that's when we obviously the church has an organization in which we can consolidate our tithes and fast offerings to help distribute food to those in need. But ultimately, the goal is that we care for those in need and that people who are able to provide for themselves are able to provide for themselves and do that. But then you have widows with children, you have uh, our elderly folk, people who are injured and unable to provide for their own in any kind of practical sense. This is where we typically, as saints, are to come in and compensate of our extra and provide that for them. That's to me, it's that is Zion, is when you don't have to be asked. You love somebody enough that you're compelled to share with them, and that people who are in need, and you want to give them the best you can, not the leftover scraps, the things that are expired in your cabinet. We're not going to just donate crap in our cabinets that nobody wants. Like, oh hey, we got, you know, 50 cans of cream of mushroom. I mean, someone starving is going to eat that, obviously, but we're to give the best as if we're giving it to the Lord Himself. Because inasmuch as we do unto the least of these, our brethren, we have done it unto Him, our Father in heaven, to Jesus Christ. We've done it to our own Savior. So let's give our best, do our best. Which we also calculate by whether the fruit is ripened before or after Tu BiShvat. All right, so there's some practical stuff here. Here it goes over the Shemitah cycles. But ultimately, there's a time and a place and a type of tithe. All of these are sacrifices in a sense. We're not always asked to sacrifice our best lamb. Right now, we sacrifice a broken heart and contrite spirit, and then we offer up whatever goodness we can for the temporal welfare. Not only that, but also our service. All right, next thing I want to move over to, see how much time I have, is the last days. Oh my gosh. There's a lot to cover, actually. Anyways, what does this say about trees in the scriptures? Well, we do have about the fig tree, and the Savior is telling us the types of things that we will see in the last days. Nation shall rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom, famines, pestilence, fear, great signs from heaven. And then you shall know that there are shoots of branches coming out. Here we go. When they now shoot forth, ye see and know of your own selves that summer is now nigh at hand. We must work while it's still day, right? So fall and winter come after this. But this is the summer. This is the signs of things that we should know. And here says, this generation, Joe Smith translation or commentary says, verily I say unto you, this generation, the generation when the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled, shall not pass away till all be fulfilled. So here we come in and it says, take heed to yourselves, lest at any time your hearts be overcharged with, what is that, surfeiting, rioting and reveling, and drunkenness, and cares of this life, and so that day come upon you unawares. So this is when your hearts are set on worldly things, then the Lord will come as a thief in the night. He doesn't come as a thief in the night to those who are aware, who are watching, to his saints. He comes unaware to those who are focused on their worldly ambitions and worldly comforts and distractions. For as a snare shall it come on all of them that dwell on the face of the whole earth. And here we are admonished, watch ye therefore and pray always, that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass, to stand before the Son of Man. So what I find significant is people are like, no, we've got a way long time off before Jesus comes again. There's always been wars and everything, but if you've noticed, when does the Lord, when are his hinge points? His hinge points in areas where he comes in through his prophet and does great things is when something like the Tower of Babel, that great ziggurat, that focus of civilization that is controlling all of the political aspects, but also all your temporal aspects, I should say, and then also your spiritual aspects. That they're taking away the opportunity to have thought, opinion, all that stuff. Right. So the Lord scatters all these people of one mind or one voice, which is wicked, and use them to disperse and create more nations, more peoples, more tongues, but so he can also preserve his people. Not only this, but if wickedness had started off under the rule of thumb by one single corrupt person, all men should remain under that same condemnation and rule, and we would never have our choice. We would simply be in a state of innocence because we never escaped and we never were able to choose for ourselves. And so here we are. We have varying nations. The Lord has preserved his people. He has had his gospel and his power in many of these areas. And when one area gets too wicked, he uses another area to destroy them. And they humble themselves and go through this pattern of apostasy and dispensations of truth, or at least having truth available to them. This that men may not fall in unbelief. So, just like the days before Noah, people were of a belief, and they went directly into wickedness, and this was the Nephilim and men of renown, men of the name who had gone on. My personal opinion is that these were covenant kings and priests who fell away and sought worldly ambitions, perpetuated things but did not practice them. Probably took on many different wives and had many children, but like we see with Noah and with Adam, you have they're told what they do have dominion over, and that's over the creatures, the animals, the land, sea, and the air, and to dress this garden, to take care of, to by the sweat of your brow shalt thou eat bread, right? But what we do not have dominion over is one another. When you raise your children into righteousness, you teach them righteous principles and let them govern themselves. And when that is taken away, the Lord intervenes. How is this going to be taken away? Faster than you think. Remember COVID-19? Well, that was practiced. There was war games that practiced that. And then two or 3 months later, bam, the world is shut down. So coincidental. And it's so funny because they put so much urgency into that. Well, funny thing is that they're doing this again over cyber security and technology in the world. In fact, one of these many antichrists that you see is Yuval Noah Harari. If I remember correctly, Yuval means stream. Wait, no, I think I wrote that down. All right, Yuval. So I wrote down some stuff about him earlier. Is he's also seeking to destroy the agency of man, saying that free agency, the opportunity of choice, that's over, and that he's a historian, a futurist. Um, he really is the epitome of Satan's plan. So Yuval means stream, named after Jabal in Genesis 4:20 through 21, who is the inventor or person who plays instruments. So think about this: he's playing you like a fiddle. Um, Noah means rest. Think this guy actually thinks he's saving humanity and helping us evolve to the next stage and become our own gods. That's literally his aspirations and everything he writes about. Um, he's like Satan's version of Noah, um, in my opinion. Right? I'm sure he means well, and he's doing the best of what he believes, but at the same time, he's wanting to destroy the agency of mankind, saying people are stupid. Um, Harari means mountain dweller. So I think all names they have a positive and a negative to them, and it's all about what you do. Mountain dweller, to me, I think he's going to be one of those people who are hiding in the rocks of the mountains when the Lord comes. Um, so let's see. So his personal life, Harari is gay. Okay, that's the first thing they care to share. He met his husband, who he called my internet of all things. That's different. They married civil in Toronto. So not religious. So it's religion is the state, it seems. I don't want to attack this guy's personal character or anything, but just everything about him is the epitome of things that are destructive, and in his mind he thinks it's helpful. Um, he's an Israeli historian and professor in the Department of History at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. He's an author of bestsellers of Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind, Homo Deus, A Brief History of Tomorrow, and 21 Lessons for the 21st Century. His writings examine free will, consciousness, and intelligence. I've actually listened to a few of his things, and he to him consciousness and intelligence that's suffering is consciousness. Oh, here he goes. Happiness and suffering. There we go. He wants to writes about cognitive revolution. Talks about how we're evolved from monkeys and Neanderthals, and how within 100 years, I heard him say this recently, within 100 years, uh, humankind as we see it now, as we are now, will be extinct. And so he wants to expedite this through artificial intelligence. And artificial intelligence is how we are going to quickly lose our agency. Look at places like Abu Dhabi, and there, like everything is systematic, and I could see how this is. Essentially, what they want to do is put everybody on parole. They want to put every citizen of the world on a form of high maintenance parole, where basically everything you purchase is accounted for, everything that you do is accounted for. Everywhere you go, there's a GPS monitoring through your phone, your car, everything. If you're making bad decisions, your car can be shut off like that. If you're making bad choices, your funds are cut off like that. And we say, "Oh, that's ridiculous." However, they are doing it in Canada. Just last year, they do it in China, a social credit system. I mean, this way of law enforcement in Abu Dhabi is um, they don't need cops everywhere. They just read your license plate, bam, you get delivered your ticket. You got to pay it. Everything is systematic and known. There's no accountability really, just other than you have to do what you're told to. Now, how is this going to be automated through AI? I think within the next 3 years or so, AI is going to be doing all analysis. I wouldn't be surprised uh, if the Ezra Eagle thing plays out, which means that Biden won't complete his presidency, neither will the next person. We could likely see some kind of justification saying our justice system, everything is flawed, everything is corrupt, and people wanting to substitute an alternative. The alternative being an artificial intelligence, something that would be unbiased. This would be your new judges, prosecutors, and defense attorneys. It would be your new law enforcement. All it has to do is examine the data and then provide the answer. We're already seeing this done in many jobs. Many jobs are being automated this way. So now we're going to go down in intelligence, I feel like. We're going to be having everything far more automated through artificial intelligence. We have a crisis being planned for by the World Economic Forum of online tech stuff. So I imagine COVID-19 got us all to work from home. This new tech crisis will say, well, we can't even do that anymore. So they're really wanting to make a divide among the people. And so this is dangerous. I can't imagine the Lord allowing this to continue. And if we're going to have our agency taken away, then it's all kaput. Now, this guy, what he wants to do on top of that, says there needs to be a world government that everybody is uniformly under. And that there also needs to be a second part. There needs to be a world religion. And it seems like they want to make a combination of the Abrahamic religions. And then he says it doesn't even have to be true. So this is all stuff I've watched on his TED Talks and his things. And he loves being considered, an antichrist. He loves it. It's ridiculous. I mean, look at his literary career. Starts off, and I guess some of this would make sense being from Israel and it's a war-torn nation, but it's all war, and then how to create new civilization. The only thing he's missing is an art degree, and then he'll be just like Hitler. But imagine we're going to lose a lot of our rights very quickly, and we're going to justify it in the name of something better and utilize something like artificial intelligence. Anyway, sorry this was a real fast go through. There is more I want to cover on the trees, but I also wanted to cover what is coming. So thank you, and hope you enjoyed. Please like and subscribe.